She bit the last 3 passengers. He didn't flinch, just held out his hand to transport shuttle. Meridian's Grace had been drifting in the void for 72 hours when Captain Vex received the distress beacon. The signal came from the outer Rim territories, where pirates and scavengers made honest salvage work a deadly profession. But the beacon wasn't from a cargo hauler or mining vessel. It was from a medical transport carrying a single passenger. Sir, the manifest shows 1 human female, designation Subject 47 Kappa, reported his navigation officer, a 4-armed Zeltharian named Kix. The medical notes are ... extensive. Vex studied the holographic display floating before his command chair. The transport had been adrift for nearly a week, life support failing, backup power at 15%. Whatever was aboard that ship was dying or worse. Any communication attempts? Vex asked, his scaled fingers drumming against the armrest. Negative, sir. The transport's communication array appears damaged. But the medical beacon is still active, indicating at least 1 life sign. The Meridian's Grace was a passenger liner, currently ferrying 43 beings from various species across the galaxy. Word of the rescue had already spread through the ship's corridors. Most passengers were curious about the mysterious sole survivor. 3 volunteers had already stepped forward to assist with medical aid. Dr. Yilmaz, the ship's human physician, was among them. So were Kresh, a hulking Goranian diplomat, and Tila, a young Nexarian engineer with luminescent blue skin. All 3 waited in the shuttle bay as the derelict transport was guided into the Grace's docking clamps. Remember, Dr. Yilmaz warned the others, medical transports from the Rim carry dangerous patients. We don't know what we're dealing with. The airlock hissed open with a metallic screech. Emergency lighting cast eerie shadows as the rescue team boarded the transport. The corridor reeked of recycled air gone stale and something, organic and unsettling. They found her in the medical bay, strapped to a reinforced gurney with restraints designed for beings 3 times her size. She appeared to be a young human female, perhaps 25 standard years, with wild dark hair and pale skin marked by strange geometric scars. Her eyes, when they opened, were completely black, no iris or pupil visible. The sedatives wore off, Kresh observed, reading the medical display. She's been conscious for 18 hours. The woman's head snapped toward them with predatory speed. Her lips pulled back to reveal teeth that had been surgically altered, filed to points, and reinforced with metallic caps. When she spoke, her voice was a rasping whisper. Hungry, she said. So hungry. Dr. Yilmaz approached cautiously, medical scanner in hand. Miss, we're here to help. Can you tell us your name? The woman's black eyes fixed on him with an intensity that made even the seasoned physician step back. Then, faster than anyone could react, she bit down on her own restraint. The reinforced polymer designed to hold a raging Bexarian snapped. Like brittle plastic. Her right arm was free. Kresh moved to restrain her, but she was impossibly quick. Her hand shot out, gripping the Goranian's thick wrist, and she pulled his arm toward her mouth. Her altered teeth sank deep into his flesh, and Kresh bellowed in pain and shock. Get her off me! He roared, but the woman held on with unnatural strength. Tila tried to help, activating a neural disruptor designed to stun hostile beings. The device had no effect. The woman released Kresh only to lunge at the Nexarian, catching Tila's shoulder and biting down with savage hunger. Blue blood flowed freely as Tila screamed out. Dr. Yilmaz activated an emergency beacon and tried to sedate the woman with an injector, but she turned on him next. Her teeth found his forearm, and the pain was unlike anything he had ever experienced. Not just physical, but something deeper, as if she were draining something vital from within him. All 3 rescue team members fled the transport. Wounded and traumatized, Captain Vex sealed the airlock and called an emergency meeting. The surviving passengers of his ship looked to him for answers he didn't have. She's not human, Dr. Yilmaz said, his arm bandaged and his face pale. Not anymore? Those medical notes mention genetic modifications, neural alterations. She's been changed into something else. A weapon, Kresh growled, his massive frame slumped with fatigue. The Rim worlds have been experimenting with biological weapons. She's a living hunger, designed to feed on sentient beings. The debate raged for hours. Some wanted to jettison the transport into space. Others argued for calling the authorities. But they were 3 days from the nearest port, and the woman, whatever she had become, was still alive. That's when Marcus. Chun stepped forward. Marcus was unremarkable by most standards of Te. Middle-aged human freighter pilot returning home from a supply run to the outer colonies. He was shorter than average, with graying hair and calloused hands that spoke of years working with machinery. He'd been quiet during the debates, listening carefully to every word. "I'll go," he said simply. The room fell silent. "Marcus, no," Dr. Yilmaz protested. "You saw what she did to us. She's not human anymore." "Maybe," Marcus replied, checking his tool belt. "But she used to be." Captain Vex studied the human with his golden, reptilian eyes. "What makes you think you'll succeed where the others failed?" Marcus was quiet for a long moment, staring at the sealed airlock. "I grew up on Titan Station. My little sister had neurodegenerative syndrome. For 3 years, she wasn't really herself. She bit, she screamed. She didn't recognize me. But underneath all that damage, she was still Emma, still my sister." "This is different," Tila whispered, her wound still bleeding. "She's been made into a monster. Has she?" Marcus asked. "Or has she been trapped inside one?" Without waiting for permission, Marcus walked to the airlock. His hands were steady as he cycled through the entry sequence. The transport was even darker now, emergency power failing. Marcus found the woman, exactly where the others had left her, still strapped to the gurney, her black eyes tracking his movement. Her restraints were torn, but she hadn't tried to escape. She was simply waiting. "Hello," Marcus said, his voice calm and gentle. He pulled up a chair and sat down just out of her reach. "My name is Marcus. What's yours?" The woman tilted her head, studying him with those disturbing eyes. "Hungry?" she repeated. "I know," Marcus replied. "It must be terrible, feeling that way all the time. Never satisfied, never at peace." He leaned forward slightly. "But that's not all you are, is it?" For the first time, something flickered in those black eyes. Confusion, perhaps. Or recognition. Marcus reached into his tool belt and pulled out a protein ration bar, the kind used on long-haul freight runs. He unwrapped it slowly, deliberately, and took a small bite. "Real food," he said. "Not the hunger they put inside you. Just ... food." The woman's breathing changed, became less predatory. She was listening. "They did things to you," Marcus continued, his voice never wavering. "Changed you into something you're not. But I think part of you is still in there. The part that remembers. Being human." The woman's lips moved, but no sound came out at first. Then, barely audible, "Sarah." "Sarah," Marcus repeated. "That's a beautiful name. Sarah, I'm going to do something now, and I need you to trust me." Marcus stood and walked closer to the gurney. Sarah's body tensed, the predatory hunger returning to her eyes. But Marcus didn't stop. He held out his hand, not offering it to her, but simply extending it in her direction. "I know you're scared," he said. "I know the hunger hurts. But you don't have to be alone with it anymore." Sarah stared at his outstretched hand. Her own hand, still free from the broken restraint, trembled as she lifted it. For a moment, she looked like she might strike, might bite, might give in to the artificial hunger that had been carved into her brain. Instead, she placed her hand in his the moment their skin touched. Sarah began to cry. Not the tears of a monster, but the broken sobs of a young woman who had been lost in darkness for far too long. Marcus didn't flinch. He didn't pull away. He simply held her hand and waited as the real Sarah the human Sarah began to fight her way back to the surface. "It hurts," she whispered. "I know," Marcus replied. "But you're not alone anymore." 3 hours later, Captain Vex found them sitting together in the transport's medical bay. Sarah was still restrained, but she was really talking for her. The first time in months, Marcus hadn't moved from her side. "How?" was all the captain asked. Marcus looked up, his eyes tired but hopeful. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is believe someone is worth saving, even when they can't believe it themselves. Sarah squeezed his hand gently. "Especially then," she added, her voice stronger now. "Especially then." The Meridian's Grace continued its journey to the nearest medical facility, where Sarah would begin the long process of reversing her modifications. But for the first time since her capture and transformation, she wasn't alone with her hunger. Sometimes the greatest human strength isn't the ability to fight monsters. Sometimes it's the courage to see the person trapped inside one